Did you miss my last live? Here's the recap. All right, we good now. Okay, so I am going to start recording here. And this is for the folks that typically join me for my my newsletter that I push out. Let's see. All right, let's go with it. So, welcome in to everyone that's joining me on Epic and also outside of Epic. I also do a stream. Put my headset in here. I also do a stream outside of Epic so that I can actually pull new users into the app as well. So I actually do a recording of this so that folks that they're not quite sure what Epic is all about, I typically push that out into social media land. So here we go. My name is Tim Williams. I go by Tim's Perspective here on Epic, and you can search ax.tim in the search bar, and you should be able to pull up my profile. And when you click on my profile, you should see probably more than 30 videos. It's probably at 40 videos at this point. And it's about 45 to 50 minutes worth of content that you can scroll through and actually see what's there. Now, I've started creating on Epic around about, I would say January the 20th is when I really started creating videos on Epic. And really what I wanted to do was to just produce videos. That's all I wanted to do in the journey. But, I discovered that, folks, they wanted to have more of an understanding of the data that I was pushing out in my videos. So I felt, it made more sense to go live and talk about some of the data and the analytics that I see on a daily basis. And, that's what this show is about. This is an entertainment show, and, it's based on real data and real streamers. I study behaviors and patterns here on Epic, so you don't have to. This is a 2-part show. I do it in 2 hours. I do the data plus top 5 streamers to watch and how you can make moves as well. So that's what I think the benefit is for actually pushing this out to folks that don't know about Epic as well, because you want to be a part of an app that is moving, and this app is moving, and I'm able to showcase how well this app is moving for those who don't understand what it all is about. Now, in the second hour, I typically talk about the psychology of streamers and also business strategy. And, there's 2 reasons why you would want to not only watch the full show after I actually get off, but also stay for the full show when you're here, because I do some real-time analytics with streamers who pop in and out, and I call them and make sure that they understand the data and the analytics that they're working with. So there's 2 reasons why you should stay for the full show. 1, this is for streamers. This is a show for streamers. But 2, I'm going to challenge you as a streamer. And this is just not on the Epic platform. A lot of what I'm talking about will actually hold true to most of the platforms that you're actually streaming on. So when it comes to Epic, it's a thing that we all know here on Epic. You have to have a community to really stream on here. And, because I provide value to many different communities, I take on the position that it depends on the value that you bring to a market like this. For me, I'm more so a neutral type of person where I promote to every single family that's here on Epic. And so, you may take on the same perspective or you may not. It just depends. So we're going to get started here. And, as people pop in the room, they will be a part of the show and you will hear a lot of the conversation change throughout. But we're going to wake this room up.
Tim.
Yeah, what's up?
Do I have permission to start the show?
Go ahead.
Initiating.
All right, let's wake this room up.
Put a fire emoji in the chat.
Hey, put a fire emoji in the chat. Put a fire emoji in the chat. This is how I wake my room up. And I want you to know that what you do in my stream is all free. Most of these things are free. You can tap the screen as fast as you can. You can tap the screen as fast as you can. Put a fire emoji in the chat and tap the screen as fast as you can. If you ain't got that green, tap the screen.
System corruption detected.
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
To continue this live, you must throw relics as fast as you can. Feed the algorithm.
And then we can start the show.
You're listening to and watching Tim's perspective. On your epic journey, remember this. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Here we go. Here we go, here we go. Tim's perspective. It's just my perspective.
Enjoy the show.
I've got a wonderful, wonderful show that I'm going to talk about right now. And as a matter of fact, there are a few things that, I like to share throughout my show so that folks that view this video after I actually, go live and post it, they can kind of see some of the behaviors and patterns that I use in my show and use it as a way to evolve their own shows. Because at the end of the day, I always say, there's nothing new under the sun. There's many things that we can do to evolve the thought process that we have as human beings, but also be able to take that information that we have and share it to somebody else. So we're going to be talking about today the Epic Snapshot. And this is the look at the diamond count here on Epic in the top 100 and also the money flow. Then I have a market Epic forecast. And this is a simple way where I predict who's doing what and what's to come. And then we also talk about Epic streamers. So this is the top 100 markets plus the signals that streamers are sending. And, I always do a Ask Tim segment when there are a lot of streamers that's involved in the conversation because they tend to want to see the data, but also they want to understand the execution about the data as well. And so when I talk about the Epic streamers, I'm talking about streamers who are entering into the top 100, but also streamers who are in the middle, who tend to get stuck in the middle, which that happens a lot. And I'm able to see that and showcase that in the data. Hey, what's up, Love Harder? Love Harder. What's up? What's up? So I'm able to see and showcase that stuff in the actual data. So let's talk about the Epic Snapshot. So what the Epic Snapshot is, this is basically how much money is actually in the Epic top 100 market and who's controlling it. It's a reason why you want to know this. It's a very specific reason why you want to know this. And I always share this. You want to be on an app where the money is flowing and the app is growing. And I'm going to showcase to you where that is. Over the last 5 days, the total diamond counts for the Epic market right now is 82,900,000 959,200. That's pretty impressive when you think about how many people have to actually throw out those diamonds, but also the amount of money that comes along with that. Now, let's talk about the estimated gross, because when I typically talk about money inside of this space, I'm talking about how much actually showed up inside of the top 100 market. Now, if you're still in your ELP stages where you are growing and you're trying to get outside of the ELP and inside of the top 100, I won't be able to see you in my data set because you have to enter into the market for me to see what you're doing in the market. So the estimated gross income from that is about 663,673.60, and that's just an estimated gross. Now let's just say out of that we are able to take 80% out of that and to give a estimate on how much the top 100 is being paid. And I want you to listen to this because this is what I always say. You want to be somewhere where the money is flowing. An estimated 80% of that would be 530,938.88. That's pretty impressive. So again, when I talk about this data, I'm talking about the top 100 and what can actually be showcased inside of this data set. And so when I look at this money and I think about the top 9 share of that, we have to always realize that the top 9 share is always going to be the greatest getter of all of that payout. They took 36% of that money. They took 36%. So this means that the top 9 creates the volume of what the app is producing. And then the top 100 tells us the story of how we got there. This is why I always tell people to look at the top 9 and the top 100. You can't just look at one and not the other. You have to look at the top 9 to understand the volume of the money. And then you look at the top 100 to see how the story played out. So when we talk about the rank share breakdown, we're talking about where this money that we just showcased here, the 530,000, where did that actually set throughout the market? And we want to know a few things. Was it all at the top, or did it work its way to the middle, or did the lower end of the top 100 get fed as well? Because obviously, you know, we want to be a part of a system too, where everyone gets fed. But we know that, you know, that's not a possibility. That's why this is a competitive market. So you want to be in a portion of the market where you don't have to play so hard to get to the money, but at the same time, you are getting enough share of the money whereby you're able to be successful on the app. Now, what I always share with people, and if you are watching this video right now, I want you to take this down. Everyone thinks that the gap of struggle is at the top. It's not. Everyone thinks that the gap of struggle is at the top. The real fight is in the middle. It's typically between ranks 10 through 25, 26 through 50, and typically most of those numbers are the same because people can't break away. People can't break away out of those brackets because it would require them to ask their supporters for more support to get them out of that group. So here's the perspective with that. If you're discovering that you can make it into the top 100, but you can't break out of the group, it may be time to break the script. It may be time for you to change up your game plan and do just a little bit more to get you out of that group. Now, let's look at this group that I'm talking about. Let's bring this up. So ranks 1 through 9 had a share of 36%. And that was an estimated payout of $192,274.56, right? Then ranks 10 through 25 share was 21%, which is an estimated payout of $112,739.20. Then 26 through 50 had a 20% share. That's $108,405.76. Then 51 through 100 had a 22% share. That's $117,519, right? So when we're looking at these numbers, you have to understand how to pull the story out this. How do we pull the story out this? What you're seeing when you see groups 10 through 25, 26 through 50, and 51 through 100, all kind of sharing that same type of share, it is showcasing to you that it is actually easy to break into the top 100, but it's just difficult to get out of the middle. So you have to start asking yourself real questions when it comes to your content, what you do in your room, and how engaging you are with your supporters to get you out of that box. What I've seen just within the last, 2 maybe weeks or so, you can possibly, get into the top 100 with 20 to 30K. Someone can get in there with 25, 30K maybe, right? But that's on a really slow day. And then you have to be strategic with that as well, because that day is probably when the top 9% is not actually streaming as much on the app. This is why I always say you got to watch the top 9%, because you need to know which day you need to push rank on. And when you know which day you need to push rank on, then you can move out of those groups a lot faster. I hope everybody is tracking with that. So the rank share matters. It matters in a really, really big way, especially when it comes to this epic journey. Now, some of the top earners, obviously, you hear a lot about some of these people, Dave Carey, Yin Yang, Cinco. We have a newcomer, Bugatti. He had an estimated payout of 15K. So we need to hear these numbers so that we can know what's out there. And then we can use these numbers as confidence and also inspiration to our game plan to move forward. Because at the end of the day, I can tell you based on the numbers that their money is here on Epic. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The money is here. How you get to it that's the part that we got to start executing on better. Because what I'm seeing is that when you turn on your live button, most people are not really turning on their live button to entertain. And that's what we need more of on the app. Because what you're finding on this app is that there's more streamers than there is viewers. There's more streamers than viewers. So you have to figure out where in that process can you be so good that you turn a streamer into a supporter. And that's the difficult part in a market like this. So it's not that it's impossible. It's just that you have to start rethinking, your strategy. Welcome to the room, hanging with Angie. Welcome to the room. So, I mean, it's just a few things that we have to take away from this data, because when we're hearing all these numbers, sometimes it can get, complicated, and we can start to, miss the point. But let's wake this room up really quick here. If you're in the room, put a fire emoji in the chat. If you're in the room, put a fire emoji in the chat. Let's go. Let's go.
Put a fire emoji in the chat.
Put a fire emoji in the chat if you find value in this content. Let's go. I appreciate that love harder.
Now
Tap the screen as fast as you can. Help this show get up the ELP where more streamers like you can find it. Everything we do in here is free. Everything we do here is free. If you want to send a gift, that's because you see the value in my content.
Detected. To continue this live, you must throw relics as fast as you can. Feed the algorithm.
Let's go, let's go. Appreciate you, Love Harder. And then we can start the show.
And watching Tim's perspective on your epic journey. Remember this. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Let's go. Tim's perspective. It's just my perspective. It's just my perspective.
Enjoy the show.
All right, so let's talk about the epic forecast. And for anyone that's in the room right now and outside of this epic streaming platform, I am streaming on one other different platform here. I appreciate you joining the show. My name is Tim. I go by Tim's Perspective on Epic. If you come to the Epic app and you put my name in the actual search bar, you put it in as ax.tim, or you can just look up Tim's Perspective. You will see my profile, and then you will see all of my content. Now, I have over 40 different videos of content, and that content is probably about 40 to 50 minutes worth of valuable information that I share about all of this data that I'm talking to you live about right now. So let's talk about the epic forecast. Now, the epic forecast is based on simple predictions that I can predict based on the last 14 days data set, right? So based on the last 14 days, now we can look at the current 5 days versus the last 5 days. And then that allows us to see the behaviors and the pattern that's actually happened in the epic market that most people don't know. And I can tell you right now, the information that you're getting right now in this room or on this recording, no one else is going to be able to share this with you. I am the only person on this app extrapolating this data and also pulling it in and telling you the story about it. So when I talk about the market, I'm talking about a few different things. First and foremost, I know for a fact that this was a very hot week for Epic. I know for a fact this was a very hot week for Epic. Just like I said, the top 100 this week threw out 83 million in diamonds. That's up 11% versus last week. And so the top 9 share, again, is 36% of that. And this data is through 4/25/2026. And in case you're not aware, Epic market closes every 24 hours. So my data set goes back from 5 days, 14 days, 30 days, and if I stay long enough, a year. That's where this becomes valuable for people trying to understand where they are in the top 100 and how to get out of the gap in the situation they're currently in. This information is not provided inside of your analytics. So let's talk about who's heating up right now. Let's talk about that. Because if this is the market, you know, there has to be someone or some people who are rising and also falling in the market. I typically call it hot or cool, right? We have people who are going to, you know, do well because they may have had a great day battling and things of that nature. And then we may have some people cooling off because now they are not having those battles and they haven't been going live just as much. But what I would say is that when I share these names with you and you are a streamer, I share these names because I not only want you to go to their lives to check them out and support them, I also want you to check out their patterns and behaviors, because obviously they're doing something that you can learn from. For an example, Mr. Ain't Going, Way Wealth. Let me throw these names out here. The GOAT, the Juicy Cat, Dre Eagle. You know, these are people who are moving very fast and they have a lot of momentum right now in the market. You know, for an example, Mr. Ain't Going, his last move, or their last move, was at 119K. That's up 159% versus their last move. That's crazy. That's amazing, actually. But I'm going to tell you one that's even better. Way Wealth. Their last move, and they were at number 4 on their last ranking. Their last move was plus 180,000 diamonds. And then when you look at the math, that's plus 775% higher than they have ever done. So I can safely project that they're probably going to do about 1.7 million in diamonds. Here's the caveat, if they continue this type of motion and this type of momentum. Now, if they fall off, that's going to be on them. If they don't keep up with this momentum, this is why we have to learn to look at the data for the story. Because if you don't know this story that I'm telling you that right now, and you back off and you take the pedal off the momentum, you could lose out on that momentum that you're building. So it's something that we have to be aware of, especially if you're a streamer here on Epic. So a lot of these creators, they're building, and I'm checking out some of this information, you know, real time too. A lot of them are picking up because, you know, I watch this data every single day, and I see people, you know, drop, fall, and I see people who completely disappear. And a lot of times with this data, you can even speculate who's doing what.
Enjoy the show.